What's up, dudes? Welcome back to another episode of Rhomas Men's Team. Pretty simple. We are a group of guys helping each other make progress towards each other's goals. If you're new to the channel, awesome and welcome. If you want to help support the channel and join our pro team, head over to rhomasteam.com/pro, where you can contribute to us on a donation basis. We also give you access to exclusive content, mastermind groups, etc., etc. So anyway, hope you enjoy this episode, and we'll see you on the team.
You know, Wes, I just love this group, man. My program is strong, and I'm feeling good today. I don't wake up with a hangover. I don't wake up with fear. And if I do, I just got to meditate, do some movement, send my act of love, drink water, do my goal review, everything on the scorecard. And I have you guys to thank, not just you, Wes, but the whole tribe on the Discord today. Troy and I have been active again, chatting. Him from Japan, me from Toronto, greatest city in the world. And Kaizen was just saying, big shout out to Troy, who's on this new journey. Just like Kaizen is on a new journey with his plumbing trade, and that the motivation and inspiration that takes place in an inter-member way on this team cannot be overstated. And when I saw that, I just replied in all caps, cannot be overstated. There's other people in my life who are jealous. And I truly, dude, jealous of the strength I draw from this group.
Hell yeah.
And that is little did they know, that is the highest praise.
Yeah, man. Well, I'd say right back at you into the group. What this does for me at this point, it's so beneficial to me that I can't imagine life without it, as cliche as that sounds. So I think now I've been doing this men's group, and it was a different, it started, I think at this point,
give them the history
15 years ago. Yeah, I think 15 years ago. And by the way, this is not some sort of I'm trying to take ownership of this, because I literally, I mean it when I say it. This is a circle, not a triangle.
Wes, this became my men's group long time ago. So just keep going. Tell them the Old Testament.
Yeah. So when I was in college, my third week into college, roughly, I found myself missing sports. It was in basketball, I loved the game of basketball, and I loved that it allowed us to, as young men, to learn lessons through the sport. And then all of the other side benefits you get, staying over in hotels together when you're playing in a tournament in a different state or something like that. And you get that camaraderie and just the ball busting and so on. But at the same time, you're playing this sport. So there's an element of progress, right? And you're learning about each other through that. And then you
sounds
can
tribal,
critique each
dude.
other.
It really sounds like warriors. It sounds Spartan.
Oh, dude.
It sounds Amazonian. It's tribal.
Yeah.
It's tickling that tribal kind of need that exists in all our brains for millennia.
Yeah. Exactly. And there's just this idea. I think it aligns with men and testosterone. The fact, and it doesn't matter if it's basketball, if it's football, if it's baseball, it doesn't matter.
If it's the choir, if it's
exactly
whatever it is.
Yeah. There was something about having the core of, we're playing this game, we're all on this team together. And then there's the sidelines, and there's the timeouts, and there's the locker room, and there's
the mentoring, the confiding, the social, or protos. Yeah, there's words for it, but homosocial, no offense, is a scientific term for the relationships that build with members of a police force or a platoon or a hockey team, right? And it's homo being meaning just the same gender.
Yeah.
Right. So homosocial is obviously a word that unfortunately we cannot throw around anymore in with a group of our dudes. But it's also this group is also proto-social, which means you guys are my best friends, even though like you're not my best friends. Or do you know what I mean? By the conventional definition, I've never met you guys. We didn't grow up together. We didn't go to high school together, but you guys are my best friends. Like for all these tribal reasons. Carry on. So do you want to give them the Old Testament of like you and Matt doing it alone?
Yeah. So that was sort of like the first seed of, I was like, oh, I need some sort of group to keep on going, even though I don't have my basketball anymore because I stopped playing basketball after high school. And then that's when it first started. And then I started like having a little bit of like hearing about masterminds and so on, like getting involved in business. And then eventually, I think it was like maybe a year or two later, where I finally got a group of guys together and said, hey, let's just talk about life no different than we would talk about a sport. So like, what's our scorecard? What do you need to improve? What do I need to improve? And so on, but doing it in a loving way and having goals and at least say the same directional goals as the group. And that's when it started. So I think that, like I said, I think it was like 15 or so years ago, and then it's been doing it ever since. So I think at this point, it's now so integrated into my day and my weeks that if I stopped doing it, it would throw me off so severely that I would have to recreate it again. So anyway, so thank you guys for always allowing us to chat as a group of men, because I think it's super important for society. And I'm going to invite a couple of you guys up here. Let's see here. All right, so I'm going to invite a few of you guys up here if you want to come on and share your wins, your obstacles, etc., in the spirit of the men's group. Let's see here. Cool. And yeah, so if anybody wants to come up and join, let's do it. And anyway, so then I think eventually the scorecard evolved to be a bit stronger, to be, as I start to learn more about different mechanisms of how you can optimize your brain and your body, et cetera, that when I was working in New York and doing these jobs where it's like kind of running myself ragged, but under the impression that, oh, you just work yourself to the bone and then just don't talk about it. That's just what you're supposed to do. And I do think there's an element that's good about that, but then I also think there's a toxic element about that that's just not sustainable. So then in our men's group, we started talking about that. And this was all in person for a long time. And then eventually, Matt was my best friend in college. I met Matt McCusker in freshman year of college. We hung out like every single day. And then he and I not really lost touch, but like I moved out to California shortly after college. And then Matt stayed back in Philadelphia. And then somehow we reconnected. We always stayed in touch, but then we reconnected and we started talking about goals. And I think he had me on the Dad Meet podcast. And Matt was saying like, hey, like, you know, we know you're super on your program. And I was like, what's a program? And then they kind of gave me that, you know, that detail. Like, oh, it's just goal setting and then following your goals and then treating life as an athlete, what it's. And then that's what sparked, you know, Matt to say, hey, why don't we talk every week? Why don't we talk multiple times a week? And then he started getting on the goals program. And then all of a sudden, boom, 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 he starts gaining momentum in certain areas. And then it's like, well, why don't we put this up online? And that's how it started to grow online. But yeah, it's been 15 years in the making. And at this part, it's just a part of my DNA.
And what I love about it is that, like, if nobody showed up, you would still do it.
100%.
It would still be 100% valuable.
Yeah.
If you can change one person's life instead of your own, it's still all worth it. And if you can change 100 or 1,000, it's worth it. So like there's no failure really, right?
No.
Like unless you don't do the work. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, at this point, literally, and I would advise this to everybody. You know, if you have something time blocked in your calendar, and people don't show up to it, don't show up to meeting, then use that time to benefit yourself. So like, if nobody showed up to this, what I would literally do is I would either journal or I would go on YouTube and learn something and then journal about what I'm learning to clarify my thoughts. Because man, the world is fucking complicated. Like,
And Wes, you are like, I think Jeff Bezos said, reputation
yeah,
is what people say about you when you're not around, you know? So
love it.
like, if nobody shows up and you still do your scorecard, you still chug your water, you still do your 10 minutes of exercise, 10 minutes of meditation, that's more important than if everybody shows up and you're like, okay, I have to lead these men and, you know, I have this obvious responsibility now, right? Like if nobody shows up, it's harder. So it's like, are you living your values when nobody's looking, right? Fidelity to your wife, you know, saying the N-word, like all these different things are like, yeah, obviously you're not going to do it in front of her or on national television, but what do you do when nobody's watching?
Yep.
Right. And I think that's where values come in.
Yep.
Right. That's where like that, or that's where there's like the habits and values overlap. Because like truly, I think there can be no habits without values, no values without habits. I mean, I'm just coming to this now, but like you can't really say which is more important because they are kind of like it's a convoy of Delco Gym. Yes,
Dude, I didn't know that was you. I'm so
Dude.
sorry that this interrupted Ray's chat.
No way, dude. Like this is a gentleman who is living his dreams, who is living his vision, and is like a performative, like farmhand actor, maybe? Like, where are we here today?
Dude, DJ, I did not know that was you because it just said James. It normally says Delco Jim. So
What up, dude?
It is a pleasant surprise to bring you up, brother.
How you guys doing?
Would you stop
Beast. How are
tossing
you?
your delicious chestnut hair? You son of a bitch. I need to get a clipping of that next time I see you.
I'm about to go film a sketch. My
Really?
ideas are coming to fruition, so we're having a lot of fun.
Hey dudes, sorry for the interruption here. Just wanted to let you know if you want to join our pro team, go to romasteam.com/pro. You can help support the channel. You will also get access to exclusive content, masterminds, one-on-one sessions, etc. All right, back to the episode.
Well,
Dude.
can I give a quick little intro for you, brother?
Yeah, dude. Oh,
Okay, so this like this is
Champion
gonna
hair
sound
flipper,
Yeah.
Delco Gym.
This is gonna sound cheesy as hell, but like literally, this is why I'm so happy to be part of the team and to make it part of like on the internet so that we could actually all meet like this because Delco Gym started on the team, dude, what, 2 years ago? Something like that.
OG.
Yeah. I mean, several years ago, and was just
It's going
such
to
a
be 3
blessing.
years in August. Sorry, it's going to be 3 years in August.
Yeah, so just such a blessing to have on the team. And I remember back in the days where he was like, I want to be a stand-up comedian. I want to do these things. And he would take these meetings back in the Starbucks like locker room or like the
Bathroom.
inventory room.
Customer
You know.
bathroom, dude.
Yeah.
Banging
And,
on the door.
Yeah.
And at that
Yeah.
time, he was talking about his hopes and dreams, his wants,
Yep.
the life he saw for himself. He wasn't talking about the life he had, right? He was
Yep.
talking about the transfer. He saw the transformation. And to be honest, Wes, I wasn't sure. You know what I mean? Like I like, no offense, like the transformation he was talking about, it was like Olympic, you know? People from like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
well,
people
and
from
DJ,
who look like him and from his part of the world, they don't always take off like a jet the way he has.
yeah. Well, and
just
DJ,
blown away.
let me know if I cross any boundaries here. You know, I'm saying this as like all upside. Like for those of you, so Delco Gym and I think are basically from the same neighborhood, right? Delco Gym? Yeah. So it's like, generally speaking, that's kind of like a version of a scarlet letter. Like you're just born there and like you don't come out. Or like it's like, and it's almost like if you're not drinking every day, and especially on Saturdays and Sundays, and just, you know, zombieing out to football or whatever, right? Like you're on the wrong path. That's the whole narrative. But then on top of it, and I say this if anybody's like, oh, well, good for him or good for him or good for him, like they have more, you know, more advantage. It's like if DJ shares even a tiny bit of his past, right? Like you will find out that he had zero advantage, like almost on every dimension.
Basically,
And now the
Wes,
guy-
there is no white privilege in Delco, in Delaware County.
Yeah,
Like that just sums it up, okay?
Yeah. So now the guy is doing stand-up comedy like an
With his
absolute animal.
heroes.
Yeah. And now he's about to do a skit that I'm just learning of. But yeah, DJ, sorry. I just wanted to give you that intro so you can be an inspiration to the group and like you're actually fucking doing this stuff. And you're only partially the way there. Like you've leveled up so much and there's still so many levels that you're going to grow to. So please, DJ, that's my intro for you, bro.
Give us an update, dog.
Yeah, man. Just plugging away. Working really hard, trying to make ends meet. I've been bouncing from job to job, but like I have goals, so I'm not really too worried about that. But yeah, like I just been working really hard, and now I'm starting to see some stuff happening.
Well, let me ask you this.
There's like a path now, rather than kind of like wandering aimlessly.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
How many podcasts have you been on in the last year?
God, probably like 10, 15.
Yeah.
Amazing.
How many have your friends been on? Like your non-comedy friends, like your child,
Right.
your
Yeah.
neighborhood
Your colleagues at Starbucks.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Zero.
like none.
Zero.
Yeah.
And I mean, again, like, I don't know if you know this, but like, I wonder what the metric is for all the views that those 10 pods have had combined.
Yeah.
It's got to be in the thousands or tens of thousands.
Yeah, man. Especially dad meet.
The dads, yeah.
The dad meet guys. That's who I'm about to meet up with now.
Yeah.
I'm
with
jealous.
Rainey and Butterly?
Rainey's on his way to pick me up right now.
Oh,
So-
dude, please tell him I said what's up and give him a hug for me.
I'm so
I will.
goddamn jealous. What's up,
Yeah, man.
Kaizen?
It's cool. I'm starting to do like the better shows in the city, and it took a lot of late nights, staying out till 2:00 in the morning to perform for nobody,
Yeah.
and just to get up at 5:00 the next morning to go to work, have like an hour or two of sleep, but it's paying off now,
And safe to say, like, you did this for your future self in terms of like how Jordan Peterson might describe it, right? Like you were making these decisions for your future self where your present self might have wanted to just like stay in bed, call in sick.
Yeah, I mean, it's all like I think about opportunity cost. Like every time that I didn't go out and and get seen and it used to kill me. So then I just started grinding really hard, and I used to think about like, oh, you never know who's going to be watching. You never know who's going to be there.
Yeah.
And it turned out to be true. Some of the best shows I've ever been on were because somebody saw me at a late night thing where there was no one there, and you just never know, so you just got to grind.
And Wes, what would you say to like, what is the expression like you get like you lose 100% of the deals that you don't show up to, or you like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. Yeah, it's the Wayne Gretzky quote. Like you miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
yeah, exactly. And so like was going to, what's the place, the outdoor place that's absolutely dreadful looking? Slow Joe's, Slow-Mo's?
Soul Joel's, baby.
That's your Jerusalem. That's your Bethlehem, dude. That is your fucking origin story with the train going by and like
literally. And I'm what's funny is I'm featuring there all weekend.
Amazing. But like you don't know which one of those like an actor, right? Literally, you're an actor now. Put that in your credits. Like you're like 3 years ago it was Starbucks. Now it's like professional paid comedian and actor. Fucking amazing. But like,
it's insane.
You don't get to decide which auditions you get. You win, right? You only get to decide whether you show up for the audition.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, a lot of what I'm doing is a lot different. When I talk to a lot of people that are doing what I'm doing it differently. A lot of people, they kind of they show up places and they kind of like wait around, and
Yeah.
the mindset is like, oh, like I'll hang around, someone will see me, yada yada.
They're in their comfort zone, right, Jim? When they're doing that, they're just staying in their comfort zone.
When I first started and I started getting booked shows, they were like, you got to go down to the club. You got to go hang out at the club, so people see you down at the club. And I don't do that. I mean, occasionally I will if it's someone I know, but I every act coming through town, I message them and I send them a tape.
Wow.
I operate as if I'm my own manager.
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of people, they have more of like a passive way of looking at that. But
Jordan Peterson, right? It's like, treat yourself like someone you're in charge of looking after, right? So like what would an agent do? An agent would, what would a Jewish, aggressive, really successful agent do? And he would message every single act that comes into town, sends a tape, and like, the hell with your insecurity, and you're like, oh, they're probably not going to say yes, so why bother, right?
Most of the time, they'll offer a guest spot, or if they're bringing their own people, or they're just generally nice.
Yeah. And you're on the radar.
I have found that most people are flattered that you would like to work with them, because they're, comedians aren't like stuffy. They're not like actor types. It's different. They're a different medium.
They're still losers.
They're outcasts and losers. And
you guys, you people are losers.
It's true, but that's what makes us win, I guess.
Oh yeah, I'm right in the same loser bucket, brother.
Yeah, that's your no. You guys are both losers, and like that is, but there's tribe, right? And again, what we were talking about before you came on is like this, like this kind of like the strength of the tribe, where yes, you are performing together with Rainey and those other kings, but there's also the after they yell cut. There's the ride there, the ride back, the mentorship, the brotherhood, all those other kind of like tribe building moments that are just like that are kind of like propelling you along your journey.
Well, and let me insert this one thing here, because there was a part of what I heard of Delco Jim saying, and Delco Jim, I don't know if you can relate to this, but I
Kaizen coming in live from the van,
the Roto Rooter.
That's right, boy. So
the loser cruiser.
I don't know if you guys can relate to this, but it's like on the path of success. I love how Alex Hormozi talks about this. It's like when you get to the next level, you're just the newest rookie to the next level, if that makes sense.
Dude, it feels like failure.
Exactly.
The whole time.
And that's what I was saying to DJ.
It sucks.
Like, exactly. Even when you're at 10 levels above where you were a couple years ago, now it's just you're immersed in like, oh well, I'm just the newest version of
it's I'm
just the newest member of this harder club.
Yeah.
So DJ, if you're feeling that at all, like that's freaking normal. I feel that every day.
That means it's working.
100%. Because now you need, in my opinion, a team of guys around you that says, hey dude, I remember when you were back fucking over here. Right. And like you're no longer hiding in the back room of Starbucks trying to have these meetings. And now you're talking about doing skits and doing all these types of things. And then it's just a matter of time. But DJ, I want to put you on the spot if that's okay.
Yeah.
If you could have the guts to say, like, what is the North Star goal? Like if you said, okay, this is where I want to go, just to put it out there into the universe, into the team, what would that be? Is it a movie? What is it?
I want to be a full-time club comic.
And what does that mean just for the uninitiated like myself?
It would mean that I would perform at all the clubs in New York and Philly, and I'd be a paid regular, and I would have steady work.
And how much are you making in that vision?
Not a lot. I would still have to work a day job, but it's the start.
No. So the just man to man, what I'm going to force you to say is like, in the perfect version of that thing that you want to create.
In your North Star goal, where people laugh at you because it's so ambitious and unlikely.
Yeah. What's
dude, I want to have HBO specials. I want to be on SNL. You know what I mean? I have all these lofty goals that, I want to take care of.
Well, there's a chubby loser from the state of Pennsylvania who I'm thinking of right now, who probably said that out loud and people laughed at him.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's like the #1 comic in the nation.
Yeah. What's the number, DJ? I'm going to force you to say this fucking number. What is the amount of income that you'd be like, that I made it? And knowing that when you reach that number, because you will, knowing that when you reach that number, then you're going to 10x that number after that. Like the goal is always going to move further away from you the more progress you make. But what's that number?
God, I don't know, like $100,000 maybe.
Dude,
Okay.
you're selling yourself way too short. Promise.
He is. Hey,
Promise.
Wes, he is. But we're talking. Okay, so here's the argument, Wes. What's wrong with saying 100K?
Oh, what's wrong with just man to man is that like he's worth way more than that.
He is.
Like I promise you that the problem with like some of these types of industries like stand-up comedy is you have to plant so many seeds for so long that it starts to really mess with your head. Because I've got a decent amount of friends who are in the comedy scene. And then but then what happens is you're on this hockey stick chart. Dude, I promise you, but when you're making 300, 400,000 a year, you're going to look back and say like, oh yeah, like that was right. Wes was right. I was underselling myself. I promise you, you will eclipse that number and it's going to be weird. My hypothesis is you're going to whiz by the number. It's going to take a long time probably to get there. But then like once you flow past it, you'll have the skills. And there's not a lot of difference between $100,000 skills and $200,000 skills. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then eventually you'll get to the million and so on. And I think Kaizen is a perfect person to chime in on this because he's got a lot of wisdom on back end, business and all that kind of stuff. Kaizen, what are your thoughts on that?
I think I threw it in here earlier. I think the coolest thing about Jimmy is when he was going through like the bullshit when he got bit by the tick and he got Lyme disease.
Oh my God, I forgot. Dude,
his face was falling off.
Face was melting like the Phantom of the Opera.
Yeah. And he had like, if people don't remember, he had Bell's palsy, which for anybody to go through that's gonna rock your shit.
You're allowed quit. You're allowed hide and isolate when that happens.
But he went through all of that shit and still was doing mics. He was still grinding and still going through the bullshit. Even with all, like anybody else, you could give them the benefit of the doubt and say, okay, you got this going on. You could easily take a break or wait for your health to get back to a place where you feel comfortable or you're not embarrassed.
Or the universe doesn't want me to do this, obviously.
Yeah, it's crazy. And he went through all that shit and then started getting hit up by comedians. And like, that wasn't like relatively, that wasn't long ago at all. Like everybody in here remembers all of that. And to see, like, he's on podcasts that everybody knows. He's going on shows. He's getting booked. He's getting his name out there. It's only a matter of time before he's doing like big podcasts that are getting hundreds of thousands of views. He's got his own podcast. Like, this dude is the definition of not stop grinding. Like, no matter what's going on, keep putting in the work. And it's not like put in the work at the detriment of your own life. He's done it consistently, put in the work, and then it's starting to pay dividends quick. It's not like you had to do 20 years of this kind of shit to start to see anything. It's like he did late nights. He would be checking in when we were on the Discord and stuff and be like, what up, guys? I'm going to a couple mics. And then before you know it, this guy's on big ass shows. Like,
with our heroes.
Yeah, like it's so crazy. And that can go for like any kind of job that you have. It can go for any kind of career. If you're just putting in the work, no matter how hard it gets, you're still building up that skill, that resiliency. If you give yourself the excuse to like give up, then you build that momentum of giving up behavior. If you don't give yourself that excuse to give up, then you build that momentum of not giving up, and that gets stronger. It's like a muscle. Like anything that you work at, you're going to get that muscle. So, So like anything that's going to go through stress-wise from what Jim's gone through now, if it's not ripping his face in half, then it's gonna be like nothing compared to the shit that he's gone through. Like,
Yeah.
he's battle tested.
Yeah. No, absolutely, man. I mean, DJ, have you had the experience yet where somebody says, "Hey, dude, I had no idea. I saw you on that podcast," and it was like, "It was you." Have you had that experience yet? Yeah. That's fucking wild.
It's wild, you know, like people coming up to me at shows and like, "Hey, I'm one of your patrons. I pay for your podcast." I'm like, "Oh my God." I'm like, "Let's take a picture." Like, literally insane.
Yeah, you're doing it, bro. It's just
cool.
it's just going more levels up. So any final party word wisdom, brother?
Oh man, I would just say that fucking find something that you love enough to sacrifice everything for. You know?
Yeah. Hell yeah. Well, dude,
also,
please tell
guys,
Rainey
I
I
think-
said hello.
Yeah, well, stop it with your please pass on my like IMDb page to Rainey if you have a chance, and this script that I wrote. The other thing is, DJ, is like, whoever said that like when you figure out what the universe wants for you, it's going to be easy. Like whoever said she's just going to give it to you, you know? Like, don't we know that the things that are really worth fighting for, like you have to fight for?
Yeah, I mean, like until I started doing comedy, like those would have just been words to me. You know what I mean? That
Like, you
wouldn't
can't
have
just
meant
roll off the
anything. Like,
turnip
a statement
truck.
like that would have meant nothing to me before I did this. You know?
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Well, DJ, we love you, brother. Thank you so much for coming on. I'm gonna spend some time right now with Kaizen if he's available.
Happy Pride. Exactly.
Later, Beast.
Cheers.
All right, Kaizen, we got to get an update, brother.
Yeah, dude. Another hero on like a hero's quest.
Yep.
Another one.
I'm sitting here waiting right now. I just had each week that I've been out on my own has been better and better and better. Like I'm doing more revenue each week. I'm getting faster at jobs. I just did a step pump this morning that I think it took me 15 minutes to wait for the glue to dry, and it took me less time to do all the work involved. For something that's made my whole week, just doing that one job. And then some of the other stuff that I've been going through is I did a water heater this week, which that's like half of a normal week's revenue. The job that I did, we got to send to like our master plumber for the whole district, so Cincinnati, Kentucky, Indiana, all of Southern Ohio, and he approved, which means I can do all of those by myself now.
Kaizen, did you know you were going to be this good at it? Did you know that it was going to be this natural, or was there a kind of like risk involved? Was there an insecurity? Because I know like you haven't been steady moving up the tradesman's ladder, right? Like this was a kind of this was a pivot for you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I did factory work when I was a teenager, and other than that, I did like life insurance sales. I did more technical office stuff. This is more hands-on, where it's like mechanical knowledge is what they use that term a lot. So like turning wrenches and figuring out like the physics of water flow and how plumbing in general and all that works. It's not something that I wouldn't say that I'm really good at, but it's something that I'm consistently, anytime I go into a job, I go in with the mindset that I'm either going to do it right or I'm going to learn. And if I learn, then I'm going to do it right the next time. No matter how hard it gets, no matter how bad it is, I'm going to figure it out. Like it's going to work out. I'm going to figure it out. And then when I get it right the first time without having to make a mistake or call somebody and ask for help, then I'm like, okay, that just adds to my confidence when I go into the next house. And since I've been doing that, and I'm listening to the people that have been doing it for years, I'm taking their advice, I'm making notes, I'm calling people all the time to ask questions, and I'm talking to people that I work with a lot more, to where I'm like fully immersed in it and learning everything that I can to be better. It's like night and day from when I first started, because it is going into it, it can be really scary because you're taking a big risk. You have to buy your own vehicle. You have to basically work straight commission. Like none of this is guaranteed, but if I go in and I do the work, then I'm going to get paid for it. And it's basically however much I want to work, however fast I do it, however good of a job that I do. That's what I'm writing my own paycheck. Basically.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Any business. Yeah.
Hell
Very
yeah, man.
entrepreneurial.
I had no idea that you had, right? It was more of like a rev share type of situation. Hell yeah.
So we have like a certain rate that we'll charge, but like if I want to charge my price, I'm allowed to do that. I'm allowed to give discounts if I want to, or I can give a quote based on what I want to charge for whatever scenario, as long as it's not like ridiculous for the most part. But
Sure.
and then I've put in 50-hour weeks right now, and I plan on doing that until September. In September, I have plumbing school that's starting. So I'll take like an extra job on my days off sometimes just to get that extra knowledge and a little bit extra income to pay off some of our bills. And then come September, I should have enough saved up for a trip that we're going on in December, and then enough knowledge to build off of for plumbing school, which with plumbing school, that's going to be about a year and a half. And then I'll have my journeyman's license where like I already have enough experience now. I can work at any plumbing company, but with a journeyman's license, I can do a lot more work. And then within probably like a year and a half after that, I'll have my contractors, or in other states, I call it the master plumbers, to work.
I think we're losing him. Are we losing him?
Yeah,
Wes?
Kaizen, you cut out real quick in case
That
you can hear
damn
us.
Ohio Wi-Fi, but
know, man.
I think we got a sufficient update from Kaizen to know he is slaying, he is mission oriented, and he is like
Oh, he's back.
just an inspiration. Another OG who has who's done the work too, right? Who's done the self-reflection, who's read the books.
Yeah, I mean, Kaizen, man, I would love to see, because my first question was going to be to Ray was like, when do we bet that Kaizen will own his own business in the plumbing world?
And then cut it by half, cut that time by half,
Yeah.
right?
Well, and I didn't know that he already has a
He's
rev
already
share.
there. He's already there.
Like a rev share with this particular situation. Like that's unbelievable. And the answer is like, Kaizen's too humble to say this, but my answer to your question, Ray, was of course he's going to be fucking great.
Yeah.
Like the dude's super fucking smart. He's ambitious. And also he's got a child who depends on him, right? There's motivation behind it.
Dude,
Like what else do you need? Those are
Kaizen,
they're all ingredients.
like, I love how much Kaizen loves like spending quality time with his little champ. Like we were on the Discord, and I can confirm, Kaizen, that going to the aquarium like with a kid is fucking awesome. It is so like the excitement that they have when they see the stingray, and then you have, and then they have, like it's just like it is like the most precious thing, dude.
Yeah, they had a little like where you can touch.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
stingrays. We were reaching in and they had a sea anemone, and I'm fingering what I thought was his butthole, and they're like, "Don't touch his mouth."
And okay, like
Cut
so
out.
Kaizen's frozen, and so that's just hanging. That mental picture is just hanging, and I don't know what to do with that, Wes.
Yeah. We'll let
So
him
he was
explain himself
looking
when
for
he
the
comes back
sea
in.
anemone's butthole, but he only found its mouth. I mean, is that a win? I think that's probably a win for the sea anemone. But yeah, so I love Kaizen's holistic approach.
Absolutely,
Right?
without a doubt. Yeah. Well, hey, I know this was a different topic than we planned on discussing, but I think it was awesome to celebrate just at least a couple of the dudes who've been on this team for such a long time. And as I look down in the people who are here, like Patty P, Lucas, Ryan, giving all you guys a shout as well. I think Dima's on here too. Like, just keep on going. Like, we're all on the same fucking ship. The answer is just keep doing more.
And this is
Right.
what success feels like. Like this is not, it's not retirement. It's not like, it's not a kind of like a hot rock couples massage. This is what success feels like, you know?
Yep.
And day in, day out, I don't know who's going to buy my art. You know, I don't know who's going to answer my emails. But when I check in with Troy, Kaizen, or Delco Gym, I'm reminded of what I'm fighting for and why I'm fighting and that this program works.
Hell yeah. Well, dude, Ray, love you, buddy. Kaizen, if you can hear me, love
all
you
my
guys.
dogs.
Yep.
Love all you guys.
Talk to you guys soon. Have a great fucking weekend.
Thank you.